So what's wrong with this picture? Point the finger. That's the default position. That's the addict. It is the victim. That's the position of the addict. It can be alcoholic, drug addict, cigarette addict, potato chip addict, sugar addict, gambling addict. It doesn't matter what the addiction is. The base is victim, and it is a lie.
Welcome to Aloha Speaks, home of Malama Aloha Pono with Alexander Noman.
Aloha, Alex here. And to me, it amazes me how much effort goes into each one of these relatively short, even though sometimes it seems dragged out, 10, 12, 14-minute videos. A lot of effort goes into each one, and yet, right when I go to hit the record button or just before, it's like something gels and then something comes together after all my notes are done. And like today, it's this aloha, and I say aloha each time before and after it. I know what I'm saying when I mean that aloha for the unifying my whole issue. I'll say one of them, okay, but it is the feeling of separation, or that I don't belong, or division. And to me, I see it going on in the world, but it's about how it impacts me. This and the anger being an impetus for driving that separation and that division, and opposite of that aloha, because it can mean different things to different people. Aloha, but that breath, not one human being lives otherwise than through the power and I call it grace of that breath. But it doesn't matter what it's called. That's the only way it happens, by breathing. The ha. That alo is the reason I utter it, aloha, and I get that its origination is the conscious awareness of it. It means shared presence, alo, which is already hyperbolic. It's just the acknowledgement, because I'm human, because I have that ability to be conscious. It's not a Hawaiian thing, it's a human thing. So, and it's the same. It's that ability to acknowledge oneness and no leg to stand on for prejudice. For me, it's an affirmation. It's not that I am there, it's that is what my need is, for unity in me. What does that have to do with integrity and honesty? Because there's always parentheses, and the parentheses have a lot to do with the content, because the first one is the quotes around VS versus, because it could be, instead of integrity and honesty, it could be integrity versus honesty. It's the nuance. They can have a little bit of different function going on there. So it could be integrity versus, but I chose integrity and honesty even if they have different functions. Because the other thing in the parentheses, there's a slash, the word accountability. And that's kind of like, well, what's the substance here? Because this word accountability has been going on from the work that I've been doing for decades. And a different understanding has been unfolding, because it usually seems that it's I'm accountable to someone else, and that has unfolded to a whole different realm of like, it's not even possible that I'm only really accountable to me. So that's what that's about. But when it came to the word aloha, it pointed toward this whole 6 segments of Malama Aloha Pono. Every single one of them. Maybe I won't go there right now, because what initiated this whole thing, I have this anger page that it took me quite a few months on my own to realize I don't want to acknowledge anger in me. And so I use, and there are popular words to avoid the issue of anger. So I can, and maybe there's more, but what I came up with, it took me quite a while, 15 different words: annoyed, discontented, irritated. I'll use different words to avoid the word anger. Like I feel that there are different forms of anger, but I don't want to admit that. Irritated, angry. Well, there's angry. There's the anger word. Aggravated. They're in no particular order. They're just how I came up with them. Restless. Self-pitying. I never looked at self-pity as a form of anger. Come to find out, for me. Upset. Of course, I'm upset. I'm disappointed. Pissed. Of course, pissed off. Agitated, frustrated, resentful, of course, disturbed. I'm a bit disturbed here. Enraged, of course, enraged. Just wanted to get it all out there for myself. I'm just calling my own number here. So here I am, disturbed. This is what brought this today. For 2 years, over this screenshot that I took 2 years ago. Someone in power, well, I'm talking about the presidential position, I'm not saying his name, that his lawyers say, here's the headline, say that false statements are free speech. So my whole issue, this anger is one thing, and then this whole thing about accountability is so much in my recovery, in all of the addictions, of the forms of addictions, is behind it. So it can be it's Dr. Silkworth, they cannot differentiate the true from the false. How tricky that is. So here's this argument that they're making that it's legal, it's in free speech to lie, make false statements, and then the subheading, this president, in his name, had a constitutional right to make false statements about the 2020 election, his lawyers have claimed in court. I haven't been able to... That disturbs me. That's the way it looks. It always looks like that. That's disturbing. As soon as I take that on, and in essence, I'm taking ownership of that. It's not a feeling; it's an emotion. That disturbance is an emotion because it is a form of anger. That's not the feeling that I'm looking for. The feeling I'm looking for is peace. So, what's wrong with this picture? Point the finger. Point the finger. That's the default position. That's the addict. What an addict is, this is the addict, not my heart. It's actually here. It is the victim. That's the position of the addict. It can be alcoholic, drug addict, cigarette addict, potato chip addict, sugar addict, gambling addict. It doesn't matter what the addiction is. The base is victim, and it is a lie. What's at the base is false. Cannot differentiate the true from the false. So it's not about therapizing. It's not about philosophizing. It's about admitting, Houston, we got a problem. Can't remember the other one. Looking for love in all the wrong places. And simply getting into the realm of what is, could say true. What is the data going on behind the scenes here? And that's where, so segment 1 is the admitting and being honest with the admitting, like I'm in trouble and I need help. I mean, I talked about that so many times. Me, the listening. I don't want to listen. I already know everything. Why do I need to listen? And even if I don't say that, I behave that way. It takes coming down off my high horse and really validating with what I'm listening to find out, am I even hearing it? I get into that in other videos, but listening, and I need to listen. The object is to listen honestly and with integrity to myself. Segment 2. Segment 3, those questions. Where am I being selfish? It's not when I'm disturbed. As soon as I'm disturbed, I'm blaming it on something else. Where is it? Not am I being, it's where am I being selfish? Where, that's one question. 2 questions. Number 2, where am I being dishonest? Somewhere I am, find it. Where am I prideful, the self-seeking? Where is that going on? Making myself, where's the aloha went out the door? Where is the fear? Am I frightened? Something's got my goat. Just find it. It's not a big deal, but it looks all scary. So that the 5th question, after answering those 4, can more easily be answered. Where is it that I am to blame? Disregarding that guy, disregarding anyone else, any institution, keeping it real. That's segment 3. Segment 4, that's subconscious. I haven't done much on that, but it is behind that low self-esteem. That's where the division comes in. I don't belong. I am not worthy. It's not out loud. It's the subconscious, and it is a lie, the big lie. It's not therapizing. It's not complicated. It just is a part of the resistance phase so that I can right my wrong. Somewhere, that's not a big deal either. I'm not even going to get into it, but it's not about if I have done if in the process, because one thing I skipped over here in my notes, here's my accountability. Here's how the subconscious plays out. I'm living with my, whoever it is. I might have a roommate or my significant other. She tells me, take out the garbage. That doesn't mean it's when I say, okay, I will. But I don't take out the garbage. But I said, I will. Now that doesn't look like a big deal, but the relationship the damage it does to a relationship when I don't do what I say I will do, even though it looks so tiny, the damage is huge. Trustability, and the trust is about me. I tell my daughter, even though she's 32 years old, I'll pick you up at 3 o'clock. I don't get there until 3:25. Nothing is said. No big deal is made out of it. Like as if I'm important, too important to get there. I don't call her. I don't change anything. I just show up late. That kind of accountability damages the relationship in a subconscious way. That's how it shows up. The anger is beneath it, but it's not called anger. Annoyed, irritated, disappointed. It's not looked at because the personal assessment is not being done. But when it is being done, then it can go to segment 5 and right the wrong with my daughter. Right the wrong, not apologize. No. Worthless. Not I'm sorry. No. Worthless. Something else. Right the wrong. That takes creativity, genuine talk about accountability. Now we're cooking. I'm not getting into that. All leading to that one biggest resistance for me. Always that self-love, so that I can be in a place to get back to home, that peace, always residing in my heart. Aloha.